So it's been a while since, we've done a long form video and something I wanted to discuss with you in the realm of sales. And I feel like it can help people not only in sales, but they can recognize how these things are happening to them in everyday life as well. And so there are four factors and strategies that are used every day in the course of a sale that help people to actually make the decision to buy the purchase that they make. Now, we have something in sales, an imaginary line. We call this imaginary line a buying line. When you can emotionally get the individual above this imaginary line throughout the course of a conversation, that individual at that point in time makes the decision to purchase a product. Now, what's really unique about this is saying specific phrases can help, and seeing and feeling and touching products and experiences can help bring people above this buying line. So, the first factor that I want to talk to you about is a factor that is used all throughout life. It is the fear of loss. Now, fear is something that can control people in many different directions. If you can control somebody through fear, they can control all of their movements. Now, I wouldn't suggest to anybody to go out there and manipulate people, especially when it comes to doing sales. No, not anything like that. But there were many different ways that we would talk about fear of loss, and many different ways we would express and show fear of loss. For instance, in sales, we would have a pamphlet, or it would be a pricing chart, or it would be a guide that would show them all of the products that they're getting. And we would place it in their hands. In order to create that fear of loss, we would take it out of their hands, not snatch it from them, but respectively and smoothly take it out of their hands to gauge how much they desire this product. Now, if they're not holding on to that pamphlet, if they're not looking down at that pamphlet, and when you try to take it out of their hands, if it comes out very easily, you might not have built up that fear of loss. However, if you take it out of their hands and they start rubbing their fingers together, uh, it's a signal. It should be a signal to you to tell you that this person felt a connection to the pamphlet or the pricing chart that you gave to them. And when it comes to door-to-door sales and doing door-to-door sales, this has been proven to be effective. Put a product or put a pamphlet or put something in the individual's hands. Take it out of their hands and see how they react to it. That fear of loss has been created. It's that same fear that happens when an individual loses their phone. Be mindful of this and be mindful when it's used in everyday life. When you find out about a deal or a sale that could be going away. Believe me when I tell you, the idea that the sale is going away, the idea that you're going to miss out on that sale is something that's used strategically. And it's something that's used to get you to be impulsed. When an individual realizes that it'll cost them more money to not buy your product than to buy your product, they make that decision there. That's because the fear of loss has been built up in them. And if you ever start to think that, like, man, I have to get this because if I don't get this, then I'm going to miss out on X, Y, and Z, then yeah, that fear of loss has been created into you because you fear losing the potential of what you could have. Another thing that's very closely tied to fear of loss is a sense of urgency. Now, how we would use this in sales and how I would use it in sales, it would be doing door to door sales. It would have a fast pace. But even if you're working in the office, you can have a fast pace. Not necessarily aggressive or anything like that, but I want to make sure I'm moving and I'm walking with a purpose. Like I have somewhere to be. When people see that you're somewhat in a hurry, but not rushed, but just in a hurry, people will not waste your time. But if they see that you have a lackadaisical attitude and you're just very, slow and you just have no desire to get anywhere and you really just don't care, well, people waste your time because they feel like you have all the time in the world. When you're doing things like walking fast and looking at your watch and clicking your pen and looking at your phone, constantly checking the time and constantly moving your feet, the feeling that it gives is that individuals see that you're in a hurry. The purpose of doing this is to not allow anyone to waste your time. When it comes to sales, people would do that to waste your time all the time. How do they do that in real life? Well, you see this sales strategy with infomercials. They'll tell you, well, first off, they'll be speaking very quickly. That shows you the urgency. They'll flash the telephone number on the screen. Being that flash emotion is a sense of urgency. And in addition to that, they'll have a timer at the bottom and tell you how much time you have left to contact them. I can guarantee them if you wrote down the discount promotion code and you called them a week later, you would still be able to get that same discount. Those actions are being used for the consumer so that you can be able to act now. That's why they say things like act now. Now, this next thing I want to go over is something that is used widely throughout the media, and it is something that is kind of, I would say, common in life, and that is the greed factor or the Jones effect. See, the Jones effect is similar, is saying, everybody wants what the other person has. When you see so many people having a certain product, people start to be curious about that product and they just start to desire the product. It's just like when people started buying Teslas and everybody wanted electric vehicles and people were curious about electric vehicles. People liked the idea of not having to pay $45, $50 to, fill up the tank. You could pay $8. People liked the idea of not having to pay maintenance every so often. They don't have to, and they only have to occasionally get tires. They don't have to worry about oil changes or anything like that because it's 100% electric. The only people that didn't make the decision is just the people who just don't know about it. But everybody was getting it. And so just saying something like that, everybody, saying words like everybody, your neighbors are purchasing this product. How we would do it, we would say, the package that a lot of your neighbors were getting this, they weren't getting this package because it doesn't come with this, but everybody in your neighborhood was getting this. When I'm using everybody, when I'm using neighborhood, it shows that I'm talking to everybody in the neighborhood. But in addition to that, it points to a specific package that everybody is getting. Generally, people tend to go towards that package. Why? Because everybody's doing it. Now, I know a lot of people like to think that they're an individual and they're not susceptible to this type of tactic, but greed works in all types of ways. People want what everybody has. Why do you think that there's so many people that start to play the lottery once it gets into the billions, in the high hundred millions? They play it because they say, well, shoot, they want to be one of the ones that win, or they want to be the one that wins. But the more hype, the more eyes towards it is what brings attraction to it. And that's how they sell you lottery tickets. Of course, I believe the lottery is a scam, but I don't have time to really get into how the lottery is actually a scam. But think about it in this aspect too. Let's say you have a favorite artist that you've been listening to for years, and you find out this artist is coming to town. And it's supposed to be in an arena that seats 20,000 people. This artist is performing there, but only 200 people show up. You start to question the legitimacy of that artist at that point in time. You're there with 199 more people, and you think to yourself, where's everybody else at? Is this artist still cool? Now, imagine that same artist, but he not only sells out, or she not only sells out the 20,000 seats, but they also have an additional 10,000 people waiting, trying to get in, or trying to get backstage, or just trying to get a glimpse of who this artist is, just outside. Well, that makes the artist more valid. That makes everybody want to associate with that artist. They have many artists that are like this, that have this cult-like following. It dies down after so many years, and then there's always a new artist that has this following, but they have them that come about quite often. Understand this. Anybody can easily be affected by what everybody's attracted to. The only way to prevent this is to carefully watch what everybody's doing and don't be so quick to react. The news uses this all the time, but being as though people are a lot smarter right now and nobody's following the news media, they don't fall susceptible to this. But a lot of times the news media says, well, everybody's saying this. Everybody in your neighborhood is doing that. We talked to all of the neighbors and they're doing this. You didn't talk to all of the neighbors. You didn't talk to me. So people are afraid right now. They doing it with Elon Musk and Tesla right now. If you pay attention, they'll say all of these negative things about it and make you think that everybody's doing it. Everybody's having range anxiety. Everybody's doing this, and everybody's going to hybrid vehicles. Nobody, if I was the most foolish thing in my opinion is to go to a hybrid vehicle. Like I said, that's a whole nother subject. I don't even want to get into it right now. But the smartest thing to get is an electric vehicle, not pay for maintenance, pay $8 or $10, or it actually the most it ever cost me in recent months has been $18 to fully charge, and I can drive all day. And sometimes it's free. But people don't do their research. They just do what everybody's doing. And so, being as though Elon Musk owns a media company, there are other media companies that don't like that. And then they say negative things about it. Keep in mind, the greed factor works on the positive and the negative. If nobody's getting your product, then nobody wants your product. If everybody's getting your product, then everybody wants your product. The next one I want to get into is indifference. Now, indifference is instead of trying to sell a product, you got to focus on helping people out, being the best part of everyone's day, not being so emotionally attached or desperate to get a sale, so to speak. No, instead of finding the person that needs my product, I need to find the individual that desires my product. You say, why would I want to find a person that desires the product? I mean, the person that needs it too, right? Yeah, they might need it, but they might not want it. I'm not wasting time with an individual that wants a product that doesn't want a product that I have, knowing that I have the best product. People fail in relationships when it comes to stuff like this, desperately trying to be with somebody, and they may be the right person for them in their mind, but the person doesn't care. They don't desire it, even though they know that the person that they're currently with is a bad person, is an abuser verbally or physically. They don't care. They don't desire to be with the person that's a good person. So why should the good person even try? It's the same in sales. I'm not going to try to give you my product because I'm saving you money. If you can't see the value in what I'm offering to you, then it's just not for you. You're not good enough for my product. I'll find somebody that is. I'll get it to the individual that wants my product, because you'll do better as a sales individual when you focus on the people who desire your product as opposed to the people who you want to have your product. Because you might want to help people so bad that might trump, your desire to run your business efficiently. Why? Because you're chasing sales at this point. And then you come off as somebody that's desperate. And being desperate is not being indifferent. No, when it comes to, these four factors, I want to make sure that I'm not trying to sell a product. I'll present the product to you. If you want it, then here, you can have it. How I would do it in sales, I would walk away from people. I would shrug my shoulders. I would show that I'm not desperate for them to get the product, because there's somebody else that can get the product. When people would ask me to come back, I would tell them, no, I'm not coming back because I'm here right now. And if you really have to think about saving money or getting a better product after you complain to me about the product that you have, well, you're not worth my time. You didn't pick up on the fact that I'm being urgent over here. And a lot of times when you're not using these factors, that's the final thing I want to tell you. When you're not using these factors in conjunction with each other, then you're kind of failing. You got to add 25% to each of them. When you apply that, you're working all of them, then you'll have a success 100% of the time. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to sell to every individual. You might sell to only a portion of the individuals that you're talking to, but you'll be more successful. You won't waste time with the wrong individuals trying to get them to get products that they have no desire for. But once you use all of these effectively, you get them above the buying line.